Welcome to another edition of HorseCenter, everyone. I am Brian Zipsy, and as always, I have the great pleasure of being joined by my co-host to the East Coast. That's Matt Schiffman. How are you today, Matt?
I'm good, Brian. I'm back in the U.S. after a wonderful vacation in London, England.
Ascot or Kempton, Matt? Which did you prefer?
Oh, geez, Brian. That's like asking if you prefer Saratoga or Finger Lakes.
Sure, Kempton is pretty nice after all. Hey, Matt,
Yes.
We've been away for a little over a week. Fans have missed us. I saw some new Horse Center fans, or I met some Horse Center fans new to me at Indiana Grand at the Indiana Derby, so that was nice.
Awesome.
First thing I want to talk about, though, Matt, is Songbird. Songbird won another Grade 1. She's won 2 races this year, both Grade 1 races. They looked awfully much the same to me, Matt, when she won the Delaware Handicap by about a length in just around 2:04 for the mile and a quarter.
They certainly did, Brian, and it is amazing that a horse could win 2 Grade 1s in both starts in 2017 and only have lost 1 race in their career. And what a commotion, Brian, created after a 1-length victory in a Grade 1 at Delaware Park.
Well, she set the bar awfully high for herself, Mr. Schiffman. When what she did as a 2-year-old and what she did as a 3-year-old, she set the bar so high that anything else than stellar performances are going to be critiqued, and I think fairly so. We always talk about fillies and mares reaching a certain point where they just don't come back as good. Their mind isn't quite on racing as much as it used to be. And I think that is a fair question for Songbird. I want to see her win as much as anybody. I want to see her at her best as much as anybody. I consider her one of the greatest fillies and mares I've ever seen on what she's already accomplished in her career. Like you said, 13 out of 14 with a whisker loss in last year's Breeders' Cup Distaff to a 4-time champion and beholder. But in the Ogden Phipps on Belmont Stakes Day and the Delaware Handicap on Saturday, I don't think she looked quite as good as the Songbird of years past.
I don't think anybody can argue with the fact that those 2 races this year were not as visually impressive nor speed rating wise impressive as many of her other wins last year. And there's been all kinds of things in discussion that on both days at Belmont and at Delaware Park, she was on relatively slow tracks, tiring tracks, and that's a fair part of the discussion. But again, her speed figures did not come up to the level of many of the other figures that she got last year and as a 2-year-old. And that should be taken into account when they make the figures with those slow tracks.
Not Martini Glass. Martini Glass is the filly that got within a length of her. Now, a month ago, we said Paid Up Subscriber is a nice Grade 2, Grade 3 type of mare. I can't quite say the same about Martini Glass, who's run some good races recently, but really a listed stakes filly, not a Grade 1 filly by any stretch of the imagination. Songbird gave her 9 pounds. Maybe a mile and a quarter is not her best distance. Maybe the track's a little slow, but still, we're talking about Martini Glass here. Can Songbird turn it around and look better? I hope so. She's going to need to, Matt. Not only Stellar Wind, the really, really good champion 5-year-old mare out there, but also the 3-year-old fillies are coming along. Abel Tasman, Salty, and probably Unique Bella from her own stable will be back later this fall. So we all want to see Songbird, I think, do a little bit more. Sorry to be critical of a horse who's won 2 Grade 1 races in her only 2 starts this year, but we want to see Songbird do more.
Yeah, and you know, we've got a very high bar with Songbird. We're used to last year seeing her going into the final turn and with Mike Smith still got a hold of her, just drawing away and beating fields that easily. And it's looked different this year. These 2 races going into the final turn, he's had to ask her and get her going. Now, I don't know. She's a 4-year-old now. Maybe she's got it all figured out, and she's just doing just what she needs to do to win the races? That is yet to be seen.
We'll see, and we'll look forward to seeing what she can do maybe at Saratoga in the next month or so, Matt. All right, speaking of Saratoga, we have the openings of two of our favorite tracks in the world, two of the best tracks in America. Del Mar opens on Wednesday. Saratoga opens on Friday. And that's what this show today, Matt, is really about. We're excited for Del Mar. We're excited for Saratoga. Matt, just because Del Mar, I know it's on the opposite coast of you, but just because Del Mar opens Wednesday, can we talk a little bit about Del Mar? We're going to see some terrific turf. The first few days, there's the Oceanside, there's the Eddie Reed, there's the San Clemente. But of course, the opening weekend at Del Mar will be dominated by one horse, Matt.
It certainly will. Arrogate is coming back to the races after his rousting win in the Dubai Cup on Saturday in the San Diego Handicap. Hey, they're running for almost no money in comparison, Brian. $300,000. That's a pittance. I'm a little surprised that they're not going for some bigger bucks on the East Coast, but this Del Mar meeting's a little bit more important than others because the Breeders' Cup is at Del Mar this November.
Matt, I just wrote about Dr. Fager a few days ago, the great Dr. Fager from nearly 50 years ago, and he carried a lot of weight. I found it interesting. He carried a lot of weight. I find it interesting that in this San Diego Handicap, the best horse in the world, the horse that's just on an amazing roll the last year, 7 wins in a row, Breeders' Cup Classic, Pegasus World Cup, Travers, Dubai World Cup, is only assigned 126 pounds. Now, I know times have changed, Matt. That's the first thing you're going to tell me. But 126 pounds, really? That's the best we can handicap Arrogate with in the San Diego? Shouldn't he be at least at 130?
Brian, I had the exact same reaction when I went on to our website and read the news story about the weights that were assigned to some of the opening weekend stakes at Del Mar. I said, 126 pounds? Seriously? I know the times have changed and those high weights don't happen anymore, but looking at some of the horses in the list of nominees and their past performances, Arrogate maybe should have gotten 146 pounds.
I don't know about 146, but a little bit closer to like the 139 that Dr. Fager carried late in his career would have been nice to see. I would have settled for a 130 in here just to make these races a little fair. We mentioned that Songbird gave 9 pounds. Arrogate will be giving a bunch of weight away because all the second and third and fourth place high weights also happen to be from the Bob Baffert barn for the San Diego Handicap. And it's doubtful that any of those horses are going to run against their huge stablemate in this, as you said, $300,000 pittance of a race. It's also a shorter distance, 1.16 . So things are, Arrogate, this really, really more than anything amounts to a graded stakes race prep for the big horse. He's looking for the Pacific Classic as his main summer race and quite possibly his only race before the Breeders' Cup Classic. So look for Arrogate at Del Mar a lot this summer. Look for Arrogate at Del Mar the rest of the year, and that might be the only place we see Arrogate. But it'll be nice to see him back on an American track after that really impressive win in the Dubai World Cup. Obviously, Matt and I are not going to give you any horses that we think can challenge Arrogate because I don't think there are any in this San Diego Handicap. Matt, what else are we looking forward to at Del Mar this meet?
Del Mar, we've got the Eddie Reed coming up also on Saturday, which is $250,000, 1 1/8 on the turf grade 2. And on Sunday, we've got the $200,000 San Clemente for 3-year-old fillies going 1 mile on the turf.
Yeah, lots of turf. We said they open with the Oceanside, which is Wednesday, the Wednesday feature. We also can look ahead a little bit, Matt, to the week after next or the weekend after next. And I think almost as interesting as Arrogate returning from Dubai World Cup is the horses we're going to see the following weekend. I guess I would be talking about the 29th and the 30th of July. I see the Bing Crosby for sprinters on Saturday and the Clement L. Hirsch on Sunday for fillies and mares. Matt, Dre Fong, his first start since a big win in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. Also for Bob Baffert, stellar win on Sunday, making her third start of the year in the Clement L. Hirsch. And you remember what she did in the Clement L. Hirsch last year.
Yeah, Brian. And, there's some good stars out on the West Coast. I'm looking forward to the return of Dre Fong because we know there's some good sprinters out on the East.
That's right. They're very good sprinters out in the East. You like Biscuits. Mind your Biscuits will be one of the many stars we're hoping to see at Saratoga. We expect to see at Saratoga this summer. Saratoga opens 2 days after Del Mar, Matt, which is Friday. Friday, I guess we have the Lake George, the Schuylerville for 2-year-old fillies. The Lake George is a turf race for fillies. I'm hoping I get any kind of odds on 55 that day. But then Saturday, Saratoga ratchets it up a couple notches, most notably the Grade 1 Diana, starring none other than Lady Eli.
Yes, super field of turf fillies in the Diana. Lady Eli, who has never finished worse than second in her career, coming back after that rousing win in California. But it's no walkover for Lady Eli in the $500,000 Diana coming out of the Chad Brown barn. And he's got so many good turf runners, Brian, in every class. He can't separate them all. So Lady Eli is going to have to likely to face Antono in there, who was a very impressive winner of the Just the Game back in June, a horse that has 2 wins since coming over from Europe for Chad Brown. Also, it's likely that Dickinson is going to come back, and we know Dickinson defeated Lady Eli earlier in the year, had a 3-win winning streak going into the Just the Game, ran well in there, had a little bit of trouble in that trip. You got those 3 in there, and you got some other good ones. You got Pete Queedra from Graham Motion, a very, very competitive field.
Yeah, the Diana looks great, Matt. Very exciting. Lady Eli has not had things easy since her amazing comeback from her bout with laminitis. She's a great inspiration. She's a great champion. But she's run in very big turf races, and she's been competitive, either winning or second. Those races have all been tough for her. She's been facing the best, and in Antono especially, I think she will again be facing somebody of great quality. Antono from the same barn, as you mentioned, Matt, European import who just looked fantastic in the Just a Game. Now on Sunday, the day after, another filly that I'm really excited to see is Abel Tasman. She's been working splendidly for trainer Bob Baffert. She's been in Baffert's barn now for several months. She's coming off Kentucky Oaks win and an Acorn win. This is kind of like her own private triple tiara, if you will, if she can win the Kentucky Oaks, the Acorn, and the Coaching Club American Oaks in succession. Salty, who gave her a very good race in the Acorn, is also in there. Yep,
Abel Tasman is kind of the de facto leader of the 3-year-old division with the absence of Unique Bella. We're all waiting for Unique Bella to come back. No sign of her yet, though. So right now, Abel Tasman is at the top of the division, but she's a very, very talented filly in her own right. Big weekend for Mike Smith, huh, Brian? Arrogate on Saturday, jump on the plane, come to Saratoga and ride Abel Tasman. Mike Smith this year is averaging $97,000 per mount. Not bad work if you can get it, my friend.
Not bad. He's got Hollendorfer horses. He's got, of course, Bob Baffert horses. Both of those horses Arrogate Saturday at Del Mar. Abel Tasman Sunday at Saratoga, trained by Bob Baffert, and Mike Smith will be on the big favorites. By the way, Matt, Abel Tasman, Coaching Club American Oaks, she'll be going for her 4th Grade 1 victory. How many Grade 1 victories does Unique Bella have yet to date? The answer is not one yet, Matt. So Abel Tasman, a deserving leader of the 3-year-old filly division. I mentioned the Schuylervilles on opening day Friday. The Sanford also will be also this weekend. So the 2-year-olds, both at Saratoga and Del Mar, so much to look forward to with the 2-year-olds. But Saratoga, there's some races here that I can't wait to see. I guess the weekend after opening weekend, which would be the 29th of July, we have a Jim Dandy meeting of the Kentucky Derby winner in the Preakness. That's all, man.
Yep. The Jim Dandy is a fantastic field, and the Haskell is the next day in a wide open 3-year-old division where these horses are going to have to win some grade 1s to get the crown. And at Saratoga, people love to keep track of the jockey race. It's the best jockey colony in the world, with the Ortiz brothers and Javier Castellano, who's going into the Hall of Fame this year, and all of his Eclipse Awards, and Johnny V and Joel Rosario. And then there's the trainer race between Chad Brown and Todd Pletcher. Chad Brown with his domination on the turf, and Pletcher with his domination in the 2-year-olds. That's their bread and butter. How many wins they put together in those specialties is going to go a long way to see which one of those trainers comes out on top at Saratoga this year. Fans love to follow that.
I'm not ready to jump onto the jockey title race or the trainer title race. What I want to know is who's going to win the Jim Dandy, which is Chad Brown and Todd Pletcher. Todd Pletcher with Always Dreaming, the Kentucky Derby winner. Chad Brown with the Preakness winner, Cloud Computing. Very, very interesting race, and I think you're right. The 3-year-old male division is befuddling. It's wide open. We don't know, but if any one of those two can get a big win or two coming in, they will go a long way in making themselves a champion. Gunrunner comes back the week after that. Gunrunner looks to be the horse in the Whitney, and then of course it all leads to the Travers. And Matt, in the Travers, we could be talking about the Jim Dandy horses I just mentioned, all those good horses pointing for the Haskell. It's kind of like a semifinal for the Travers. Big race in its own right for sure, but the top horses from the Haskell joining the top horses from the Jim Dandy. Then we had a couple nice winners of derbies outside of the East Coast on Saturday. So the Travers, despite the odd complexion of the 3-year-old male division right now, could be just a very, very interesting race.
Yeah, I think I heard that, and it's possible this year in the Travers that we get, because we had 3 different winners of the Jewels of the Triple Crown, that we get all 3 of them in the Travers. And I think that I heard that you have to go back to 1982 maybe to have a different Derby, Preakness, and Belmont Stakes winners all meeting together in the Travers. That would be pretty cool.
That would be pretty cool indeed. We haven't even mentioned Classic Empire, who a lot of people think is the best 3-year-old of all. He'll miss the Haskell, but he's at Saratoga and training for the Travers already, so he's another one to throw in there. Back in 1982, Matt, I guess we're talking 35 years ago, none of them won. The Kentucky Derby winner, the Preakness winner, and the Belmont winner, let me see here, Gata del Sol, Aloma's Ruler, and Conquistador Cielo were all beaten in that Travers by the Canadian Runaway Groom. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see something like that happen this year. 2 candidates to do that, Matt, both raced on Saturday, one on the West Coast, one in Indiana. The West Coast, it was West Coast at Los Alamitos winning the Derby in impressive style.
Yeah, Brian, and if West Coast could pull that off the way Baffert's going, hey, why not? I don't think we'll get the kind of
Absolutely.
price that Runaway Groom paid, though.
No. Baffert's going to get that. And after last year, when he brought the lightly raced Arrogate to dominate the Travers, he ran 1-2 in the Travers last year. West Coast is sure to get plenty of play. He looked like a good thing, closing like a freight train in that. The Son of Flatter still lightly raced and obviously getting better. So West Coast is one to watch. I was at the Indiana Derby, as I mentioned, Matt, and was thoroughly impressed with what I saw from Irap. Irap is a really, really good-looking, big, strong son of Tisnow. We know he was a maiden through 7 races all the way until the Bluegrass, but he is putting together some good races. He's getting better and better. He's bred to do that, and I don't think we should take the Indiana Derby winner lightly by any means.
Yeah, he certainly has proven that his victory in the bluegrass was no fluke.
Absolutely. He looked good at Indiana for trainer Doug O'Neill. All right, Matt, we're talking Songbird, West Coast, Irap. We're talking, most of all, we're talking the opening of Del Mar, the opening of Saratoga this week, Wednesday at Del Mar, Friday at Saratoga. Tons of big races at both the summer places to be. The summer place for you to be, of course, is with us, Horse Racing Nation, HorseCenter. We appreciate you watching every week. Go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can see Matt and I every week. It's always nice to meet everyone that watches HorseCenter out at the track, so keep saying hello to us. Parting shots from you, Matt.
Yes, and I will just add to what you said, Brian. I will be at Saratoga for the next 2.5 weeks doing laundry and packing the car to head up north tomorrow. So please, anywhere on the track, please stop and say hello and chat, and we'll talk about who we like at the betting windows.
Matt, I am going to send your mail. All of your mail will go straight to Saratoga. Enjoy the first couple weeks there. I'll be up there in about 3 weeks, so I'll see you soon. And we'll see you again on another edition of HorseCenter next week. Thanks for watching.